Firstly, I'd like to apologise for the delay in replying to comments last weekend, but I was very honoured to be asked by my son to be his best man on Brownsea Island, where he and Jennie got married. The long weekend was not without incident, but it was a great day despite Storm Freya doing her very best to stop people getting onto the island.
But it's the strength of the wind that we've got to worry ourselves about. That is coming because of this deep area of low pressure, which is going to be Storm Freya later on tomorrow. The track may change a bit, the strongest winds on the southern flank, and as a result we have this yellow wind warning from the Met Office, and we're going to find the winds really picking up in the southwest of England and Wales later tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, gusts 60, 70 miles an hour, possibly even 80 miles an hour around some western coast. The strongest of the winds transfer their way up towards northern England.
The first one, please, ladies and gentlemen, raise your glasses. Bride and groom.
Bride and groom.
Oh. I can't breathe.
That's not it.
Fuel pump can come off. A little bit of a bump or two. Or 3 or 4, to be honest. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 aircraft. Vapor trails right close together. Well, I don't suppose they're close together. They look close together here. I was going to do a piece of the camera, but I'm not going to do it in this direction because, well, I don't know, I suppose it's better to do it in this direction because it'll light me even though it's sort of very hazy in front of me. What I was going to say was, I was asked to talk a little bit about myself and the aircraft. I did put a little montage together as a response to request for some external shots. But the Jodel was built in France in 1963. It flew in France for a while and I can't remember the French registration, but I'll put it up there now. But it came over in, I think it was 1970. Ernie Horsnell is well known for bringing lots of Jodels over. I believe I saw in the LAA magazine last edition, or somewhere, that he just celebrated his 100th birthday. I do know that a few years back when we were at Santa Mare, he came across and was very keen to see the Jodel fly in there. And I don't know whether it's true, but actually somebody told me, and it might have been Ollie who we bought the aircraft from, was that EH, the last 2 letters of the registration here, was actually Ernie Horsnell, and he had this one for a while for himself. Don't know about that one, somebody can probably point me out whether I'm right or wrong. But in terms of an aircraft, we did own, I say we because it was Jerry and I, did own TAG, Golf Alpha Tango Alpha Golf, a long time ago, which was a blue and white Jodel. But at that stage, they were on a full C of A. So it actually became too expensive for us to run, which is why we looked and found the Nord. Jerry really liked the Nord. It was a French Army Air Corps spotter built in the 1950s. And we flew that for 20 plus years. As I said already said, I've over 900 hours in that. But the rules changed, and this one came up when we were looking to sell the Nord, and because it's now on a permit, it makes it that much easier to operate, maintain and fly. I know that there's lots of different opinions on this one. And it depends on how much flying you actually do as to how cost effective it is. You basically got cost of hangarage, cost of insurance. Because you do your own maintenance, you don't have to pay an engineer cost as such, although you do pay your engineer for work that you specifically ask him to do, and for inspections. I think everybody knows by now that John, who I fly with a lot, is an LAA engineer, and he oversees all of the work that I do and does a lot to help me. So as I say, you've got hangarage, you've got insurance, you've got any of those maintenance bills. You could turn around and say you've got Skydemon, you've got a radio license, although I think that's only something like £20 for 3 years now. I'm sure I'm forgetting lots, but I'll add it somewhere along here if I don't remember. What else have I got? Basically, an hourly running cost is between 18 and 20 litres of fuel, depends on what power setting I'm using and how I'm flying. Uses a little bit of oil, but hardly anything really. And apart from major situations like we had with the tail wheel, she is actually finding a piece of wood. She is actually fairly maintenance free. I find her a very, very docile aircraft to fly. The fact that you've got 2 seats in the front and you've got this bench at the back, the bench at the back is limited weight-wise, so technically speaking you can put 2 children in and luggage, or you can put 1 adult, but there again it's going to depend on what you're doing with fuel, because there's 55 litres in the front tank and there's 55 litres in the back tank. You've probably heard me say that according to the operating handbook you have to land and take off on your front tank, but apart from that it's just a matter of sort of balancing it out as you fly. Some people are very, very accurate and they go simply by stopwatch and have X number of minutes on one tank and then the other. But I tend to find that because of the limitations, if I've got quite a bit of fuel in the back, I tend to burn that off faster. But yeah, that's it really. In terms of the aircraft, if you divide it by the number of hours you do, then you get some idea of what your hourly rate is. And I'm sure that on some occasions, and certainly in the past when I was working and therefore not able to get as much flying in as I would have liked to have done, it probably worked out as expensive as hiring. But I do tend to find that, as I've said before, if you're hiring, you do tend to pay a flat rate even if you're not actually flying it. I know that depends on individual circumstances, but as far as I'm concerned, just going to have a little play. As far as I'm concerned, the one thing about it is the fact that they do appreciate. You can buy a car and take it off the forecourt and it automatically decreases by X amount, whereas over the years these have all appreciated. And if I was to tell you that the first aircraft that we had was the Emerald that Jerry and I bought between us, it was in not a particularly good state and we had to do a rebuild on it, but nonetheless it wasn't too bad, and we picked that up for £1,500. And it's a bit like being on the house market. You sell that on at a profit, not that I'm into making profit, because I tend to be fairly loyal to my machines. I find something that I like and stick with it. But we sold the Emerald at a profit. We bought Tag. I'm not sure that we actually did sell Tag for that much more of a profit, because it was actually costing us, as I said, a lot of money to operate. Interestingly enough, I think I've said this before, but interestingly enough, we actually sold it to John, and that was the one of the early times that we came across each other. In fact, I did that video a little while ago about the fact that it was his 200th time, and although he'd been flying flexi wings and everything before that, I sold him the first machine. So I'm just going to pull the car out. I'm coming towards the overhead.
Nayland traffic, Golf Alpha, Yankee Echo Hotel is in the overhead, Nayland traffic.
Still very strange without a side tone, so I will definitely do that when we're on the ground. It was getting a little bit tight for material when we weren't getting the flying in. Nothing happening at Wormingford. Vapor trails still very, very high up there and lots of them. I am on the front tank. Brake gears off, harness, okay, hatches okay. Always strange, I do harness and hatches, but I actually look at the wrong ones. So I say harness and look at the hatch and then the other way around. Very balmy. 75, so I'm already in the white arc. Suddenly stopped because in front of me, but some distance away, is a para wing. It's going to be well the other side of where I am. But it's this sort of height. Oh, we got a buzzard that's the same height. You're not going to see it probably, but it's, two buzzards. But not only did you get two buzzards, but you also got a whole lot of seagulls that were flocking past it.
Nayland traffic, Golf Alpha, Yankee Echo Hotel, final Nayland traffic.
Lined up on my markers, ready for pushing in. Take the one off. As I said before, that's on aircraft power, so I need to shut that down before I close everything else off. I've checked the mags. Shut it down on the mixture.
And there we are, it's all gone quiet. Now if I remember correctly, in order to do what I need it to do, You press and hold for 5 seconds. You then change with the larger knob, intercom volume, auxiliary, side tone. And once you've got side tone on, then you can actually just modify it by the smaller one. And then when you've got what you want, you just press monitor again and it goes back to as it was. Easily done. And when I test it, it's fine.